Now it's time to paint the bird. You have a tray of watercolor paints on your table, and I'm going to show you a really cool trick. And we're not going to paint the bird first, we're actually going to paint it last. So watch this trick. With some water, you're going to take your brush and just paint a line, just with the water, no paint, around your bird. And if you have to go over the legs, that's fine. And I'm going to try to squeeze past his tail, and I'm just going to go over his little curlicue hair. Now, you can barely see that line, but what I want you to do next is paint that line next to the bird. So there's a shape here that you just created, and you're going to paint it with water. It might seem strange, but just bear with me. I paint it, dip my paper nice and wet. I'm not actually touching the black line. I'm going as close to the bird as possible, but I'm not really touching it, and I'm not going over the line. Okay, so now, almost done. What I want you to do is take your very favorite color. And you have a whole palette of colors to choose from. And this green is really looking pretty to me. So I'm going to dip my paintbrush in the green. If your paint is perfectly dry, you might have to stir your brush around in it for a little bit. Or if it's already wet, all you have to do is tap your brush on the palette. So then, when you touch the watercolor paint to the water, guess what happens? It just spreads. And it creates this really pretty background for your bird. So you almost don't even have to do the work. The water pushes the paint over all of the areas where the water is. So it doesn't actually float into the dry areas of your painting. It just goes into the wet areas. See how it floats and mingles? You just have to touch. Notice how I'm not pressing too hard? Just going over the legs because the black stands out. And I'm going to finish that up. Now I have a nice background for my bird. Time to paint the center. I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to drag the brush across the rim, and I'm going to pick my favorite color, and that's hard to do when I have so many in front of me, but I think I'll choose pink. I feel pink today. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint the body, but I'm not going to add the water first. I want you to try this. You're going to take your paintbrush and just brush that beautiful color over the white part of your bird. Now what happens is that when the brush gets a little dry, it's telling you it needs more water. So just go ahead and take your brush. You don't have to clean your brush. Just go ahead and dip in and then dip out. And it's just like giving your brush a bath. And then look what happens. It can spread that paint out so that it's nice and translucent. Translucent means that you can see the paper underneath the paint. Some paints that you use in art class, you can't see the paper, but watercolor paints you can. I need a little bit more water on my brush. I'm going right over my feather lines. I'm going right over my wing, and I'm staying just within the black line. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to switch colors, and there's only one more thing I can paint in this picture, and that is his beak. And I think I'll choose this beautiful orangey yellow. And this is a simple job. I'm going to do the top. You know what? I've changed my mind. So I like a lot of colors. I'm going to do the top part orangey yellow and the bottom dark orange. That just makes it more fun. And you just created a very fancy bird with just a few colors of watercolor paints.